We have officially reached my personal favorite moment in the Attack on Titan story, and this is including what's yet to be adapted. For me personally, the rumbling activating and the realization of what really happened to Ymir to lead her to be so loyal to anyone with royal blood, to see how the shifters began, to see the tragic part of her life of just literally being a slave, to Eren being the one person to ask to use the founding Titan ability. Not demand it, not say, do my bidding, but saying, you want to be free. You're not a slave. You're not a monster. You're human. Is this really what you want? And to have Zeke claim, sterilize the Eldians, and Eren saying, give me your power, as it goes into that moment, seeing parasite-looking Eren become some giant abomination as the walls crumble, as they casually reveal in this episode what the walls are named after, Ymir's 3 children, and the tragedy that led her death, because a shifter can heal, right? A shifter could come back and save themselves from a blow like that, and the fact that she died there and the king refused to let that power go away, and to feed her body to her children and to their children, to make this horrible cycle that traps a girl who makes shifters for all eternity. And we know time moves differently in the past realm. What a sad life. And to see Eren admit what his true plan is so amazing, because there's so many emotions when I initially read this. Both excitement, both fear, both right and wrong, because from what Armin can see, he's unleashing a wall of Titans to push back the Marley forces. But why would you need to break all the walls down? And when that message goes into all of their minds, all the subjects of Ymir, this is Eren Yeager. I'm going to trample this entire world outside of these walls. That my people, I will protect them. But unfortunately, this is the path that he believes the world's on. That outside these walls, there are too many people who want to destroy us. And even though there are innocent people that are about to get trampled, people who didn't choose the life that they're given, what Eren's seen, the path he's choosing, is to kill everyone, but leave his people safe. And that is, I think, completely within Eren's character from what we've seen up until this point. Because when you think about it, the thing that Eren values more above all else is freedom. And, of course, the freedom for the whole world would be great, but as we've seen, freedom with the whole world has led Paradis and Marley and subjects of Ymir to clash for all eternity. Sometimes in history, you see Marley as the victims. At other points in present day, Marley seemed like the antagonists and the villains. So for Eren, at this point, he's just pushing on. He's using the power, and he unleashed an army of colossal titans that are now marching on the world, and holy shit, how do you stop that? That is such a devastating realization, because you go from them questioning, is Eren friend or foe, to Armin believing and hoping that Eren is his ally, seeing it all come true, to then realizing that he's also about to commit genocide and that the whole world is about to be crushed and a small pocket of land is going to be left untouched. Is that what we want? It's not something that's pretty. It's not something that's heroic. It's not something that villainous. It's something unlike anything you can really see. And to have that villainous music, that ominous music, contrasting the Ymir stuff, which is pretty tranquil, pretty heart-throbbing, as if it's so depressing to see this girl not speak a word but just moan and gasp in pain, to then seeing Eren use that little girl's power to unleash hell on this world, a one-shot chance to make right against a bunch of wrongs that they feel like have been committed to them. Baffling. Best episode. Best absolutely point, in my opinion, of the story. I love everything about that's going to be coming up. I've read the manga so many goddamn times. I reread it quite a bit. But there's something about this moment, and to see how they escalated it with emotion, with that music, with Eren's voice actor still somehow finding ways to impress me more than the last time. Him holding Ymir, being like just screaming out in pain, being like, you're not a slave, as Zeke is frantically running, realizing that what's about to happen could very well bite him in the ass. It is so crazy because Eren goes from ripping his hand off in those chains to try to catch up with her because he says, go sterilize the Eldians. And to get that flashback of what led her to have what happened to her, right? I mean, it's pain, it's torture, it's agony. I mean, to see that, your reward ultimately for basically destroying a bunch of people after gaining the ability of a Titan is to carry someone's seed. What a time to be alive, am I right? But I always loved the tree scene because there's always the question, right? Because previously, we kind of got the realization that Ymir, she has like a physical way of creating the Titans in this kind of mystical way, right? She builds things in this realm, and in reality, we see how a shifter kind of like forms outside the body. But to see her go into this tree and how there's this parasite-like creature that combines with her to grant her that ability, then you start asking, well, how the hell does shifter, be passed down? And to see it be like this cannibalistic way of feeding, like with the music and the voice acting from the king, it is so disgusting. It's one of the most horrifying anime episodes in recent memory, maybe one of the most horrifying anime episodes in general, because it's not trying to be a horror, it's not trying to be a thriller, it's just explaining history. And the most horrific things that you can read about don't come from authors writing a scary story, it's reading about shit that happened in history when there was a lot less rules to go around. And that's what makes it so terrifying, and how I think MAPPA elevated what the manga did, because with that music, a lot of times you don't need voice actors to explain things. Visually, we can tell what's happening, and seeing the atrocities, seeing the gasping in characters' voices, and seeing just someone who looked like a slave, to have Eren be like, I know you don't obey me, even though Eren didn't initially realize that until he went into past. He saw something. Grisha saw something. And Eren seemingly got his way. And now the big question is, how do you stop that? Or can you stop that? Who's going to try to stop it, if anyone is going to? Because seemingly, outside where the walls once stood, an apocalypse is marching to their door. Holy shit. And I am blown away with how they detailed it. The shaky cam with the rumbling was a really good effect that I wasn't expecting, because when you have these giant monstrosities trampling and walking, they did a great job animating them, from the mist to the fire to the everything, but the shaky cam with them stomping made it feel like we couldn't hear and we were disoriented the same way Armin was. Like when Armin was speaking to Mikasa and Mikasa was like, what, I can't hear you. You can tell this is like destroying their eardrums because of how loud it actually is. Attack on Titan is my favorite story. I love everything about it, all from chapter 1 to 139. And to see how even with two studios, which easily could have been two very different visions on this story, it feels consistent. It feels as brutal and as hopeless as it always was. And to compare the beginning, episode 1, the walls coming down, and one Titan who just destroyed everything and unleashed these little beasts coming towards them, eating people, comparing it to where we're at now with episode 80, with giant Titans now marching in the opposite direction. Holy shit. This episode answers a hell of a lot, but it brings up an even more devastating question. What happens next now that the Titans are unleashed? Holy shit, 10 out of 10. Absolutely everything I wanted to see. Thoughts and feelings, especially if you're an anime original, because these are the kinds of episodes that I wish I could experience fresh, I have to admit. But even rewatching it after knowing what kind of comes in, it's just as memorable in my opinion. But thoughts and feelings, theories, if you have any, please keep the spoilers on future content out of the comment section. I want people to be able to discuss and theorize to the best of their ability. Leave a like if you enjoyed and subscribe if you're new around here. So until next time, everyone, please take care and have a good one.